Hey everybody! Welcome back to Big Hair Gaming. We're here with another video covering our favorite game, Last War. And today's topic, we're digging into a highly requested one that I've gotten across a couple of videos, and that is the drone. So in this one, we're going to go over basically everything about the drone, whether you're brand new and you just got it and you're seeing it for the first time and you're wondering what you should do, or you've been playing through Season 1, Season 2, Season 3, Season 4, and you want to make sure that you're not missing out on anything, this is going to be the video that you're going to want to watch. I'm going to go over all the components, all the elements of the drone, a little bit of my own flavor of, what I think about it mechanically, as well as a couple of small things that I don't think that everybody knows, unless you read the little info tab and you read through all the stuff like I do. But with that, let's get into it. So for the folks who are brand new and you're seeing your drone for the first time, what the heck is this thing? So basically the drone, which you can see mine over here, I keep it near all my airplanes and my other stuff, is a extra damage dealing and boost providing ally that joins you in battle. It'll join every squad that you have. Once you have it, it is ever present. And there are a number of different systems that we'll go over, which you can use to increase your power to make all of your teams stronger. So the drone is really good because he makes everybody better. But let's get into it. So the first main feature that you're going to have access to when you start using the drone is going to be data training and drone parts. And the data training is represented by this little guy down here on the left, and the drone parts are the little guy down here on the right. Now, basically what data training is going to allow you to do is it will allow your drone to gain experience and subsequently increase the attributes of the drone. And those drone attributes are the ones that are listed right here. Now, basically, those attributes of the drone will be converted into attributes for your heroes at a certain ratio, and you'll be able to get the nitty-gritty on what that looks like by hitting this little info button here. So yours will be different than mine because we're going to be different level with different upgrades, all that sorts of stuff, but you can get that breakdown. And basically what it means is, like, if whatever your drone's HP is, you'll have some ratio by which that will be converted into power for your main hero team. So they'll get some extra damage, some extra defense, and some extra HP. That also applies for those who have their gorilla, their overlord. They will also get some additional HP, attack, and defense as well from the drone. So the drone and the overlord do synergize together in that way, although gently, a gentle synergy. Now, one thing that people may not know is that while you are upgrading your drone and increasing your attributes, you actually have the ability to crit and get some extra experience points than you would otherwise normally get. Now, right here in the display, I'm at what I call a benchmark stage, where every 5 levels that you increase your drone, you're going to get to some benchmark stage, and on that stage, you're going to need to spend a couple of these drone parts. Usually, there's 5 stages in each one. So you'll spend whatever the requisite amount of drone parts is here to get through 1/5 of the stage until you max it out. And after that point, it's all data training all the way through until you get to the next benchmark. So sometimes you might run out of drone parts. Sometimes you might run out of data training, but that is basically how that's going to work. And on screen, I have a breakdown of how many drone parts you need per benchmark. So this will give you an understanding of what that cost is. And I want to, for the folks who have been around for a long time, you know that as you get closer into, the 100s, you get to like 110, 115, 120, your costs of drone parts per stage to get through that benchmark is going to go up and up and up. But there is light at the end of the tunnel. You can see that my cost per stage is 1,000. Eventually, once you can get to the stage to level 150, that does go back down, and you're only going to need 100 per stage. That's going to be 500 to get through the level 150 benchmark, and then it crawls back up from there. So it's not going to go, 6,000, 7,000, at least not yet. You have some time. But moving on. So that you have this ability to crit, like I said. So once you're through this little benchmark here, as you're leveling up, every time that you do the upgrade button, while your training progress is less than 80%, you have a 50% chance to get a critical hit, which will double the experience that you gain from a single expenditure. However, once you get over 80%, you are not able to get a crit anymore. Second, I also want to mention that you do have some nice skill increases that you get as you level up. So as you go through multiple levels, you're like when you level up your skills on your heroes, you also have some skill increases to look forward to on your drone. At levels 30, 50, 70, 90, and 110, you're going to get level skill increases where you'll get the pairing skill that's mentioned here. So level 30 will be here, 50, so on and so forth, all the way down this list. So you do get some upgrades that'll make your drone more effective just from leveling it up. Now, real quick before we continue, I just want to take a quick moment to say that if you are enjoying the video, feel free to give it a like and drop a comment down below, even if it's just, yay, thanks for the video, because all that engagement and stuff like that does really help my channel grow, and I do seriously really appreciate it. If you're brand new, feel free to subscribe, because I got tons of videos just like this one of guides, tutorials, explanations on gameplay mechanics, hero breakdowns, and strategies to succeed in combat. And then lastly, I want to mention that I do have channel memberships available. If you're really vibing with the kind of content that I make and you want to support the channel, you can throw me a couple bucks per month and you get a cool flare symbol next to your name when you drop a comment. You'll get member shoutouts at the end of videos, as well as being to join in on some cool live stream recordings for battles and events. So if you're interested in that, feel free to hit the join button down below to check it out. But let's keep going. So moving along, so once you get your drone up to level 15, then you're going to unlock the ability to start to equip drone components, and those are going to be shown here. And basically what these will do is that they're going to further boost your drone's power even more. So there's 6 different components that you can get. You have the radar, the engine, the armor, the missile, the fuel cell, and the thermal imager. And the first 3, these ones on the left, these are going to grant you more defensive boosts like HP, defense, and reducing the chances of taking critical hits. Now the other ones that are on the right, these are going to grant you your offensive boosts. So this is going to be stuff like attack increase, skill damage increase, crit damage, as well as crit chance. So in order to level up these drone components, yours, if you're earlier on, yours is going to be a little bit different than the way that mine's is set up, and I'll walk you through that. So what's going to happen is that you're going to need 3 of the same type of component to be at the same level, and you're going to combine them. So let's say if I have a level 3 missile and I want to kick it up to level 4. Don't worry about this for now. But let's say I have a level 3 missile and I want to kick it up to level 4. That means I need 3 level 3 missiles, and I'm going to combine all 3 of them to get a level 4 missile. And then that means when I want to get from level 4 to level 5, I need 3 level 4 missiles. And then I combine those to get to level 5. And so basically what you're going to do is you're going to walk your way up the generation tree, where you're going to need 3 of your current level to get to the next level. And that's how it's going to work up until you get to level 7, and for a particular piece of gear. And once you get to level 7 for any piece of gear, then it's going to start to look more like what I have, where you have this progress bar, and basically what's going to happen is that you can add in, I don't have any parts right now because it's Science Day, but basically from any components that you have that are of the same type, you can basically truncate them down and use them as experience points to just push that single piece of gear up to the next level. And that's basically how this is going to work. And that's the process once you get to level 7. Before level 7, you have to kind of stack them up where you need 3 of the previous one. After, you can just crush them all down into materials to boost up. Moving along, we're going to dig into combat boosts and skill chips. Now, unlike drone components, which become available once you hit level 15, combat boosts and skill chips are not going to be available until you hit the 82nd day of your server. So how do you know where you are? Basically, you come down here to where your obelisk is, you hit this guy with the little book icon, and it'll tell you up at the top. Now, if you're in a season, you should already have your drone accessible, because it's going to show up in day 82 of the preseason, which is the 82nd day firm of your server. Now, once you get beyond that, once you get to season 1, it gives you like this weird other countdown, so you don't really know how many days have passed. But if you're a little bit earlier in the preseason, you won't see all of this information as it only shows you a couple days in the future, but you'll know that it's coming down the pipe. So feel free to just keep playing the game, having a good time, and you get there when you get there. For everybody else, you already know what I'm talking about, so let's keep it going. Now, Combat Boost, basically it does exactly what it says on the box. It's going to increase specific features of your skill chips, as well as give you access to more presets. Now, these additional presets are going to allow you to have multiple selections of chips for different squads, as each preset can only be used by one squad at a time. Now, these chips and these presets are going to be a tremendous boost for your team. However, it's going to be a long grind in order to get more of these presets and level up your combat boosts. But how do you do that? So, for the first couple levels of the Combat Boost, you're mostly going to use what are called the Drone Combat Boost EXP cards, which I'm going to have pop up here on the screen because I already spent mine. And you're going to get those just by doing like your regular gameplay. You're doing your daily tasks, you're doing your missions, your events. You will have the opportunity to grab some of the purple ones, which will give you 10,000 EXP per use, which will be available in your Alliance shop. But all that stuff, just your regular gameplay, as long as you're doing events, you're doing your weekly stuff, blah, 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 you're going to get your hands on some of them, so don't fret about it. But additionally, you can cannibalize any of the skill chips that you don't need to boost the power of your drone to go even further beyond. And once that combat boost reaches level 10, that's when you're going to get your skill chips available, and it's these bad boys that will contribute to a lot of your combat prowess, as they can grant you different abilities in battle and take your squad from 0 to hero. So let's look into what the combat boosts get you at different levels. So once you get to level 10, like I said, that's when you unlock the chill chip system. We're going to dig into that in just a moment. You'll get your first preset as well, because that's what you need to use the skill chips. Then you got a long walk until you get up to level 150. Once you get up to level 150, you get your second preset, and also the boost that your skill chips get is going to go to +1. We'll talk about what that means. But you can see it's going to be 150 levels before you get to level 300, another 150 levels, before you get to level to combat stage 3, another 150 levels before you get to stage 4, another 150 levels before you get to stage 5, and another 150. You get the idea. It just keeps on going up and up and up. There's a lot of investment here, a lot of time, but you'll get your fourth preset on the 4th stage. I'm not quite there yet. That's not how they used to do it back a couple months ago, or almost, I'll say actually several months ago. You used to just be able to just buy the presets and outright, which is how I got mine. Eventually I hit their benchmark for unlocking it normally, but way back whenever, I think you could buy the second one for $5, the third one for 10, and like the fourth one for 20, but they redid that. But now, digging into the skill chips proper. So this is where a lot of the detail lives, and a lot of the breakdown is going to be for the rest of the video. So this is the page for your skill chips, and there are 4 different chip types that will all affect your drone. You have the initial move, which is here in the center. You have the defense skill on the bottom right, and both of those are defensive chips. And then you have your offensive skill at the top, as well as your interference skill on the left, and both of those are offensive chips. The skill chips, whatever kind of skill chips you have, for whatever quality or whatever rarity, be they common, uncommon, epic, or legendary, like I have here, will all proc off of the same stuff. And that is, they'll all trigger off of the same stuff. Your offensive chips will always trigger whenever the drone attacks in combat. And you can verify that by just reading the text here. When the drone bombs, blah, 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 blah. It's going to do what it does. When the drone bombs, blah, blah, blah. So these are going to trigger multiple times throughout the fight. The defensive ones, however, will trigger at the beginning of battle, and you get whatever the chip says. Similarly here, at the beginning of battle, you get what the chip says. So that's how your breakdown works. Is you have 2 chips that fire off at the beginning of the fight, and 2 other chips that will fire off every time that your drone does its thing. Additionally to these four different chip types, is you have 4 chip rarities. So I'll click here on my defensive skill, and I'll select the other skills that I can pick for tanks. So here, the green one, this is our common level 1. This is the Proton Armor 1 skill. At the beginning of the battle, your front row heroes, front row only, gain defense equal to 3% of your drone defense for 3 seconds. Real simple. Then when you go up a rarity, that's going to jump up to 6% of your drone defense for 3 seconds still. If I use a level 1 of my epic level skill chip, at the beginning of battle, my front row tanks gain 2.5% plus 2% defense boost for 15 seconds. Pretty solid. If I look at an upgraded chip, and we'll talk about that in a moment, that jumps up from the 2.5% up to 7.75% for the same duration, same 15 seconds. And then if we back out of that, we can check my legendary skill, which is much better, which is rather than just my front row, at the beginning of battle, my tank heroes, so that's everybody, gains a 17.5% plus 4% defense boost. And my front row units are going to gain an extra 30% plus 10% defense boost until the battle ends. So rather than it just being the first couple of seconds, be it 3 seconds or 15 seconds, you get the boost for the full battle, which is very, very nice. Now, fortunately, one thing that makes the abilities a little bit easier to digest is that all of the different vehicle types will all get the same abilities of whatever that rarity is. So you don't have to worry about, like, you know, does the air team have different buffs than the tank team? Does the missile team get something different? They all get the same stuff if the chip goes in that slot and it's that rarity. So for example, here for the legendary tank skill for the defense, beginning of the battle, tank heroes, we already read it. If I go over to my air team, it reads the same thing. Beginning of the battle, aircraft heroes, blah, 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 defense boost. Front row gets an extra, blah, blah, blah. Now, some of these values will be different depending upon the prestige level. So one of the benefits that the legendary skill chips have, the legendary and the epic skill chips have over the commons and the uncommons, is that if you have duplicate commons or uncommons, you can't do anything to increase the power of that individual chip. However, if you have duplicate epics or legendaries, you can use those duplicates to ascend that chip and increase its power even more. So here I have my defensive air chip ascended up to level 2. And basically what that means is it's going to get like the green number here is going to be increased when this boosts up. So like in my tank one, which is level 3, I get that 17.5% boost, and you can see once I get it up to level 4, that will go up to 22%, and my air team, which is at level, my air gear, which is at level 2, when it goes up, it'll get that 17.5%, but right now it's at 13. So that's what that green number is. But there's a little bit more to it. You can see here there's these kind of like notable benchmarks that you get. So when you get your chips to a certain level, you do get what's called a major ascension, where you're going to get the secondary ability of that legendary chip is going to be boosted even further. Whoops, not that one. But here in the preset, so once I got mine to level 2, the front row gains an additional boost of 30%. Regular Ascension gets the defense boost up to 17.5, like we saw. The one after goes up to 22. And then another Major Ascension, that 30% defense boost for the front row goes up to 45%. And so you can see how these scale this way, where the more chips that you have to invest that are of the same type, and you can ascend to those higher levels, you can continue to boost the power of that chip more and more and more. The epic level ones also have the same ability, but as you can see here, there's no secondary skill that gets to be increased here. So it's just that the beginning of the battle, my front row gains that defense boost for 15 seconds. So there's no secondary boost there. So you do still get like that nice boost. You can see like you continue up, but you don't get the secondary skill along with it, which is a shame. A very common question that people will often ask in the comments is, when is it the right time to stop using my epic level chips, those are the purple ones here, and switch over to legendary chips? And fortunately, I have a really clear answer. The answer is pretty much any time. Like, even a heavily invested epic level chip just really isn't going to hold a candle to a legendary, as you're able to see. So we look at this chip at the beginning of the battle. Your front row aircraft heroes gain 13% plus 2 defense for 15 seconds. Now, even if this was at level 10, I only get a 20% boost for 10 plus 2, a 20% boost plus whatever for 15 seconds. Whereas if we swap this over to our legendary chip, like this lasts the operative thing here being until the battle ends, which for me, like, it doesn't matter what the boost was from that epic level chip if it only lasts for 15 seconds. Most fights aren't over in 15 seconds. I'm not going to squash my enemy that fast. So, like, I want that boost until the battle ends, and it's because of this clause right there that this ship, like, whenever you get a legendary, no matter what, is just always going to outpace whatever an epic level chip can do. And that pretty much holds true for a lot of these other ones. So let's look at the offensive skill for the aircraft. At the legendary level, when the drone bombs, your aircraft heroes gain 5 plus 5.10% attack boost, lasting 3 seconds, and the drone bomb will hit one more target. So let's look at what the this is air, right? Yeah. Let's look at what the other skill was. So here we go. I don't have any air purples, but it's cool. We can look at what the tank one does because we know that they're the same. It just applies to tanks. So when the drone bombs, heroes gain 2.4 plus 0.80% attack boost for 3 seconds. You compare that to a level 1 tank chip. When the drone bombs, 3% plus 5, like, already way, even just the your level 1 boost is nearly better than this, plus the boost that you get from your combat boost. So already I just want to try to dispel as much, like, if you're hanging on to epic chips because you got it up to level 4 or you got it up to level 5 or level 6 or level 7 or 8, 9, 10, it doesn't matter. Like, just swap that John out for a legendary chip, regardless of what star level it is. You're definitely going to be doing a lot better for having it. I definitely recommend it. It's just going to work out way better for you, especially just because, like, the benefit for the attack is just you hit one more target and you keep prestiging it. You're going to hit 2 more targets, 3 more targets, whatever. But they all work more or less like this. Like, you can do the comparison. Even if you don't have enough to feel confident, you can always look at the preview and see what's coming down the pipe as far as upgrades, and that should hopefully give you the comfort to switch over from epics to legendaries. I've seen it a number of times, either on Reddit or people will send me a message in the game and ask, when's the right time to switch over. And I want to make sure that above all else I impart, please get rid of those epics. Use the legendaries. Literally, the only reason I still have this purple legendary is for this video, so I can comfortably demonstrate to folks that, like, it's okay to get rid of it. Alrighty, so that was covering our drone chips. Next up, we're going to dig into maximizing your drone materials and how to spend them wisely. So there's a lot of resources out there to obtain that we've talked about, and many of them are really simple, but there's a few things to look forward to that'll help you in your very long journey, as well as some non-obvious tips that are worth knowing too. So to that end, there's 2 helpful buildings that you'll get access to as you continue to play. The first will become available at HQ level 15, and you'll unlock the drone component factory, which is right here. And basically what that'll do is that'll produce a number of level 1 drone components for you throughout the day. And according to folks online, the optimal level to aim for that you want to at least get to is level 19, Once you get up to level 19, you're able to hit a total of grabbing 7 components per day, which is like the maximum that you can get in a single day. And this might not seem like a lot, but when you consider that you can get this will get you about 49 components a week, that's nothing to sneeze at. And especially because you're going to get it for free, and you're going to get it from every day onwards, and you're going to need just tons and tons and tons of them. So the more you can get, the better off that you'll be. Second is that after Season 3 ends, the Age of Oil begins, and once you hit Headquarters level 30, you'll have the ability to unlock the Drone Parts Factory from the Age of Oil research tree. So that'll be down here at the bottom, the Age of Oil. You have to work through quite a bit of things. It's near the bottom, so you got to do you have your work cut out for you before you can get there. But once you do, you'll be able to get it up to level 30, and you'll be able to grab a maximum of 6 parts per day. Or that's about 42 parts per week at a maximum. And I know that doesn't sound like a lot, and that's because it isn't. But keep in mind that at the higher levels, you're going to need thousands upon thousands of drone parts in order to hit those upgrade benchmarks. So the more free drone parts that you can get, the better off you're going to be. Even if that's just, a fistful a week, that's a fistful that you don't have to get from other means, and that'll continue to push you towards your next level. So next up is understanding that not all drone components are equal. So the components that are on the left side over here of your drone actually all have a twice as high probability of appearing when you open up your boxes as the components on the right side. So this means that it's going to be way easier to increase things like your HP and your defense and all that stuff, while your offensive drone stats will usually lag behind. And you can see this holding true for me, where all of my components on my left hand side are all at level 9, while the ones on the right hand side are still at level 8. So because of this, whenever you happen upon a particular type of box, one of which I happen to have here, which is a drone component choice chest, this one is level 4, then you're going to want to use this one to grab one of those types of components that you'll find on the right hand side. So if you were to click a regular component chest, you can see what the probability of getting the different components is, where the missile, I forget what this is, but with the other components that you have on the right, the thermal imager and the the fuel cell, all only have a 11 and 1/10% chance of coming up, whereas all the other ones are at 22 and 2/10 or 22 and 3/10% chance of showing up. So you'll definitely want to grab these whenever you have a component choice chest, because you get to pick what you want from it. So that's something that you want to be aware of, because if you're not paying attention, you might kind of intuit that it feels a little bit skewed, and if you don't check, you won't have that confirmation. So this is just something that's worth doing pretty much whenever you have the ability to do so. Cool. So the last little thing that I want to touch on is that you saw this pop up a couple times, and I spoke about it, but the orange number here relates to the extra buff that you get because of your combat boost level. So once your combat boost gets to certain levels, we saw it in the on the other page here. I'll just bring it up real quick. But it mentions that this skill chip boost is increased to 1 or increased to 2 or increased to 3. Over here on the skill chips, when you click the orange value, it'll show you what that like +1, +2, +3 means for that particular chip in terms of what it does for you to have that echelon of power. These are much, much slower to go up for the whole reason that we already talked about within the combat boost section, but I just wanted to make sure I touched on that as well, just so that there's no confusion about where that boost is coming from. And finally, I just want to give my own opinions on the drone as a simple gameplay mechanic within Last War. So for me, being somebody who plays a lot of video games, I immediately recognize that the drone is basically a slow burn mechanic. So you're not really meant to try to speed run it in order to get buku amounts of power, but it's something that you're going to continue to work on and continue to grind on, likely during the entire time that you choose to play the game. You're basically never going to be finished with your drone. And like this is kind of reinforced where if you look at like the upgrade preview, you know, my account is like been, you know, playing for over a year, and I'm not yet at level 150 out of 250 levels. So like we're meant to be using this and you know, putting resources into it for a really, really long time. Because of this, the drone is very rarely going to be your next best avenue to increase your overall power, but you'll find that from time to time that you'll be close to your next power jump in the same way that we are when you're looking at your skill chips and you find yourself pretty close to that next major ascension. Then maybe you'll spend a little bit more of your resources or focus towards pushing that particular thing, but otherwise it's just going to take a really, really long time. So to me, I recognize that the drone is essentially a money pit, especially at mid to high levels, as the value that you gain relative to the effort required is exceptionally low. Not to mention this is reflected by the fact that like you can't really like pay to play the drone. Like you can do it early because the benefits that you get from like spending money in the in-game store or whatever are very good when you've just gotten your drone. But as time goes on, like those become less and less impactful. And we can take a look at like what that looks like, because if we go over to, I think there's one in the weekly deal where like, you know, if you spend $5 you get like 3 drone components. Like that's nothing. That had for me where I'm at, you know, level 145, like 3 extra component chests for $5 means absolutely nothing to me. Similarly, like if you look at the not the weekly pass, where's it? The weekly deal, more accurately, we slide down here and we take a look at this. Like, okay, cool. Like for, you know, what is this? $50, you get 3 drone component chests, which means nothing to me. You get level 5 drone component chests, which, you know, that's nice, but it also means nothing to me. But you do get like a level 5 drone component choice chest, and like, yeah, a level 5 drone component is nice, but like that's not gonna like move the needle nearly at all for, you know, somebody who's over level 100 drone, or like if they're close to me or almost at like, you know, level 145, not going to move the needle at all, and that is absolutely not worth, you know, $50. But if your drone is brand new and like most of the gear that you have is like level 2, level 3, then like by all means, like, you know, getting a level 5 drone component is pretty good. So that's what I mean to say, in that, like, you know, in the early game, if you really want to like be on the edge and really see the benefit of what your drone can do for you, then you might want to buy one or two of these just to kind of be that guy for a little bit. But like that effect is going to go away, and like you're going to have to focus on other stuff. Like similarly, you know, in a conversation of things that aren't worth your time, like for somebody who's, you know, over drone level 100, 150 drone parts is a drop in a bucket. Like for me, I need 5,000 drone parts to get to the next level. I'm not paying $50 for 150. It's just simply not worth it. Similarly, like I need, you know, 5 legendary skill chips of the same type to get to the next like power level for a specific drone chip. 1 legendary skill chip chest for $50 like isn't going to do anything for me. It's not going to move the dial at all. So like this kind of stuff becomes like essentially worthless in the mid to late game or late game experience for the drone, which is disappointing, which is why you do see, you know, some of the time scale for the components that you need goes back, or sorry, not the components, but the drone parts that you need goes back down to, you know, 500 after you get past this 145 benchmark. So then like there's, you know, some renewal of interest and some renewal of stuff that goes on there. But still, like with the better that you do at gaining components, and the better that you do at gaining skill chips, like the less engaging that it is, and the less that you get to engage with the mechanic. Which is why, you know, from a fun perspective, I'm not really concerned about the drone that much, and I kind of knew that it was going to be something that's going to sit on the back burner forever, and it's never really going to be a very engaging mechanic. But when you do get to engage with it, like, it does feel nice to get your skill chips to the next star level or what have you. But yeah, I think that's going to bring us to the end of the video. If you liked it, if you found it helpful, informative, all that stuff, feel free to share the video with your Alliance mates. Feel free to like it, drop a comment down below. And even if it's just like, hey, thanks for the video, I am curious to hear, like, what do you think of the drone? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Do you think drone chips should be different? What would you like to see that they change about it if they were going to change it? But yeah, feel free to let me know. I also want to thank our channel members, supporters. Those are the folks who provide me with a little monthly contribution just to say thanks for the videos. They help keep the videos churning out, help keep them free and affordable, all that sorts of stuff. And I'm glad to have you here. I really do cherish that you find value in the kind of content that I produce enough that you choose to support me, with a little monthly contribution here and there. So I appreciate it. But yeah, I want to thank all those folks for being here. I want to thank you for watching this super long video, if you made it this far. But yeah, I want to thank you for watching. I want to thank you for listening, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.